through the cloud.
Okay,
Yep.
done.
Okay, we're recording. This is fantastic. And this recording will be on kwvalley.info. Okay, under the coaching. It might take a couple days because Joanne does it. But it will be there for us. So I'd like to introduce Deb Warner to you. Deb is a 16-year veteran practitioner of real estate. And so I think she's been on a listing presentation or two or three. And so she's going to share with you what she's done. She'll do her presentation, and maybe if you could write down your questions, and then at the end we'll have Q&A. Okay? Is that good with everybody? All right, Deb,
All right.
your audience awaits.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
What I'm going to start. Oh, wait, I have to share my screen. Just a second.
That's okay. That's okay.
Let's see. Share screen.
And then you can just click share in the lower right-hand corner of that window that came up. Yep.
I did it. Okay.
How to rock your listing presentation. Beautiful, Deb. Thank
All
you.
right. So what I did was I thought about what do I think about? What have I thought about over the years? Because my listing presentation has evolved. And it's evolved because of different experiences that I've had with sellers. So I put this together, and then I'm going to share my listing presentation with you. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set up the appointment, and you're going to talk to the person on the phone. What you want to do, and there are other lists, there's a whole long list actually of qualifying questions that we could provide to you if you don't have them. But you want to find out how soon they're going to move. Are they moving? If you say, where are you moving to? That gets people nervous. So I always say, are you moving locally? Because then they tell you their whole story. And what price are you thinking about for your house? And they say, well, I thought you would tell me. And I said, yeah, but I absolutely am doing the research for you, but I want to know what you're thinking. And the reason that I say that is because I want to know what they're thinking. If they're thinking 50,000 more than I'm thinking, then we have an issue that we have to discuss. They're going to say to you, what price are you thinking? This is on the phone. And they're going to say, what commission do you offer? And I always say, well, I have a presentation that will show you that. I don't want to talk about it right now because I want you to see my presentation. So then I set up the appointment to see the house, and I always say, I want to show you how I get houses sold. And if I feel like I need to, I can say, I only need 15 minutes of your time because I can do this in 15 minutes. And I always stop at 15 minutes and say, all right, well, I promise you 15 minutes. Do you want me to continue? And they always say yes. Before the meeting, you need to have, before you, okay, so you drive there. You're going to park down the street. You're going to get there 10 to 15 minutes before the appointment. You want to be on time. That's really important. There are a lot of realtors who get there 30 minutes late. That's horrible. It gives the wrong impression that you don't value their time. So you want to be positive, professional, confident, and calm. And I'm going to tell you how you can get there. First, you're going to dress professionally, but not corporate. You're going into someone's house. So they're going to be dressed in sweats or, they're not going to be real dressed up. You want to be more dressed than they are, but you don't want to be overpowering. You're going to park down the street and you're going to really pay attention to yourself. You're going to breathe, whatever gets you into the right mind frame. Breathe, meditate, listen to inspirational music, visualize. And so that's the beginning. You can do that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long you feel, will get you there. And it's really not necessarily to be totally calm, but to be present, because you need to be present to these people. Then you're going to, at the end, you're going to do a visualization. And I know how Benz has a section where he talks about visualization and affirmations. And you can look into this some more also, but I always end with me visualizing myself with the sellers. I may not know what they look like, but they're, generic sellers. We're happy and we're shaking hands. And because I really do believe visualizations make a difference. When you get there, you have 4 seconds to make a positive impression. So you're going to ring the bell and you're going to be on time. And you say, we set up the appointment for 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. You want them to know that you're not one of those realtors who's there a half an hour late. Smile. You say hello and you thank them for seeing you. Thank you for allowing me to come. And you find something positive to say about the house, even if it's horrible. You could say, I've been in those situations. It's such a nice day. Or, I also say, you have great curb appeal, whatever it is. And as you're walking through the house with them, you're going to be saying, oh, this is a good sized closet, things like that. It makes such a difference to people because there are realtors go in saying, oh, this is a small closet for a master bedroom, and I've been told that. I know that. You're not going to be like that. You need to find things. They value their house and they want you to value it. And you go in and then you say, is it all right if I put my notebook on the kitchen table, or would you rather have it at the dining room table? You want to be at the table because when you do your listing presentation, you want people to be sitting, you want the 2 decision makers to be sitting across from you, not where you have to keep turning your head. And you want them to be able to see the materials that you're holding up. What do you think is most important in all of this? Does anybody have an idea? I'll tell you. Relationship. The most important thing is that you have a relationship with this person or these people. They need to like you and trust you. And you want to tell them what you want to do. So you're going to tell them what's going to happen. You're in charge and they're waiting for you to be in charge. You're going to say, you're going to show me around the house for 5 or 10 minutes. And this is me. Some people like to say, let me walk around the house by myself, but I want to be in relationship with these people. So I want them to walk around with me. After that, and then you say, after that, we'll sit down, I'll answer all your questions, and I'll tell you how I get houses sold. And then you say to them, and this is like a closing statement in a way. After you sign the contract, we'll carefully go through your house. I'll take notes on the special features and anything that's new. And I do have a special feature sheet. I tell them about that, where I very nicely write out all the special features and I hand that out to people. And while we're walking around, I'll ask them questions about them, not really about their house, because you've seen houses before and you can kind of see, you're judging how much of the house needs work and how carefully they've kept up with the house. But at the same time, what you want to know, you want them to tell you about them. And people like to talk about themselves. So that brings you more into a relationship. And you're also finding out things like how anxious are they to sell? How soon do they really want to sell? So here's what they really want to know. They want to know the list price. They want to know the commission. They want to know how you'll sell your house, how you will sell their house. Have you sold houses in this town? Do you live nearby, or is your company nearby? They don't want to know about you. They do in a sense, but I have a packet that I give them and it has about me. I don't read it to them. A long time ago, I did talk about myself, but I found that this is really what people want to know. They don't want to know your background or or about your company or anything like that. If you give them a packet with this information, you don't have to go over it because they really want to know the things that I just mentioned. And I'm going to tell you how to get past. How many people have never sold a house? Raise your hand if you haven't. Okay, so I'm going to address that because it doesn't really matter. So here's how you appear like an expert, even if you never sold a house before. Know the stats of the area. So I'm going to give you an example. I sold one house in New City, New York 5 years ago. So I went to another listing presentation at the end of, in December of 2020. And I went into the MLS and I saw that in the last 6 months, 90 houses had sold. And our office, KWVR, and the New City Keller Williams had sold a third of those 90 houses. That's impressive.
Mhm.
So, so that's what I said, because I didn't want to say I haven't sold houses here. I said, 90 houses sold in New City in the last 6 months. And my office and the New City office sold 30 of those, 1/3. That's all I had to say. And I didn't, I didn't say I sold them or anything like that, but that's all I had to say. So you should really know those, prepare yourself in advance. Know the special features of the area. I mean, I happen to know New City because I've spent time there and I can talk about it. Know the demographics of the potential buyer. So in other words, who is their buyer? So you can talk about that. Another thing you can do, which I did, and I've taken people also, go with an experienced agent for the first 1 to 3 transactions and split the commission with them. And it really pays because you can learn a lot from somebody who's been doing this for a long time. And also it takes away any of the what have you done kind of things. Okay, so that's that presentation. Now I have to get out of that. Now I want to share my screen in a different way. All right, so here is my listing presentation that I show to the prospective lister. And I'm going to go through it a little bit faster than I normally do, so that because I don't think you need everything. I'm the lead agent on my team. My husband and I work together. And okay, so here's how it starts. When you're going to sell a house, there are 3 things that are important. The first one is how it's priced. The National Association of Realtors has put this together. So if it's priced right, you're going to get offers, and then I read this, the first 2 or something so that I get my point across, because my point is pricing is really important. And I give them this in the packet. So this shows that the first 3 weeks are the most crucial. You're going to get the most offers and you're going to get the best offers in the first 3 weeks. So we don't want to try prices, which is they'll say, well, let's try this price. We don't want to try prices. We want to target what that price should be and price it right. Condition is number 2, and if I've walked around the house and the condition is perfect, I'll say that's something you don't even have to worry about. Your house is in great condition. They love to hear that, of course. But I'll show this. This is your home should really appear like a model home. And this is, you may have rooms that look like this, but they could look like this if you just fix them up. And I say, most buyers don't have a good imagination. If they see a messy room, they're not going to know what they could do with that room. The third thing is how it's marketed. And that's something that I really excel at. I mean, I say this because I believe it. And I'm telling you this. I think I really stand out from other agents because I go the extra mile. I really try to figure out who to market to. And you'll see this, I'm going over it. So the National Association of Realtors looked at how buyers found their home. And I target all of those areas. So I'll show you. First of all, most people go on the internet right away and they're looking at the photographs. They may be looking at videos if there are videos for them to see. And so we really think that's important. So each home has its own website. And now I have to share something else. And I show them, I'm going to show you, well, go back. How do I get out of this? Oh, I know. All right, so I'm going to go to another screen where I can show you an example of a website. Okay, here's a website of a house that I sold. And
It's not appearing, Deb.
it's not, okay, share. It says I'm sharing my screen. New share.
You're sharing how to appear like an expert.
Oh, okay, here we go. Share. Okay, so now you see it?
Yep.
Okay, so each house gets its own website, and that has a gallery of homes. And I'll just show, I show them a few of the photographs to say, you know, isn't that a high quality photograph? And I might show 2 or 3 of them like that. And each one gets its own video, and that, you know, I'm not saying this to them, but showing this video impresses everybody. And I know that there are people that do it, but not everybody does. So here, I'm going to turn up the sound. You'll see, it's just music.
Can everybody hear the sound? Because you needed to have, okay.
I'm turning the sound off. But what I like, and this is what I say to them, what I like about the video, first of all, it looks like it's HGTV. And I have people who look at these videos over and over again and then decide to come to the house. But what I especially like about having a video, this is me talking to my customer. What I especially like about having a video is that you can see the way that the rooms flow into each other. So you really get a sense of what the house is like. And you'll see that in a minute. And I really get their attention when they're watching this. So now you see it goes right into the kitchen. And from the kitchen, you'll see the family room. You'll see how it flows into the family room. You know, and I just show this for maybe 30 seconds to a minute. But they get the idea. See how that flows right from the kitchen. You know, that's the kind of thing that I would say. So, okay, now I'm going to share a different screen. Is that it? Mm-hmm. Let me find this.
Okay. Deb, while you're finding that, and I don't mean to distract you because sometimes technology takes a lot, but if you would make sure that
This
you
is probably it.
show the agents or share how you create the web page.
Okay. All right, so you get the idea of the And I've used the same photographer for many years. Let's do this. All right, do you see that, websites and photographs?
No, all we see is a
Are
white
you, are you seeing?
white box over your webpage.
Okay. Let's see.
Hmm.
Now you see that?
Yes, each home has its own website.
Yes, and I'm going to try to make it a slideshow. Let me see if I can do that. Did that work?
Yeah, that's the presentation, so that's all we see. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. When I put it in the Keller Williams, this is what I say to this slide. When I put it in the Keller Williams system, it goes to over 300 websites. So your house is going to be seen on Trulia, Zillow, Remax, Coldwell Banker, and websites that you and I have never heard of. But I know that they're there because I get emails from those people saying that they're interested in seeing your house. I also put it on Craigslist. I put it on YouTube and Facebook. I also do staging advice. I've done a lot of renovation, and I can recommend contractors if you need that. I do a market update so that we both know what is happening in the market, whether we need to, I expect to be able to price your house so that we don't have to ask for a price reduction, but we need to know exactly how many houses are selling in your town and how many houses are under contract. And those are important things to know. I create a list of top agents in the town and I market to them. So I'll send them an email that looks like the email that's right over here. And for an open house, or just to tell them that your home is on the market. And most agents in the area will have a client or two who might be interested in buying your home. So it's really important to sell to those agents. I want to go here. Okay, so I also think about who is the buyer for your house specifically. And this house, I went on this presentation, this house is on a main road, a big time main road near a lot of stores. So I said, I would give out flyers to all the store owners because they may want to buy your house because they could walk to work. I'm also looking at move up buyers because the price is $700,000. And there are a lot of schools in the area. So I'd market to the schools because maybe one of the teachers would buy your house. That's the type of thing that I talk about. Once I put it in the Keller Williams system, I've signed up, and you can sign up for this too. I've signed up for Proxio. And Proxio is a website for realtors that's international. So if someone in England is looking for a house in New City, in this case, they can see your house on that website and their realtor can tell them about your house. So we've really covered all the bases that we can. Also, we put out a sign in front and 9% of the buyers found their house through a sign. And I do get calls on my signs. We do an open house and we put out as many signs as the town will allow us. And 4% of people found their house through an open house. And I'm telling you this now, not them. I have gotten buyers through open houses. So it really pays to do an open house. And then this is a little bit scary. I don't say that to them, but I say, I want to make sure your buyer is qualified. And that means that a lot of buyers can get qualified by just giving their social security number and and tell someone how much money they make. But that doesn't mean they can afford to buy your house. So we want to make sure that their mortgage person has seen their tax returns, because that will tell the whole story. And I, tell some scary stories there. And then, so that's something that I do. I call their mortgage person and say, have you seen their tax returns? And sometimes, not all realtors do it. In fact, most don't. And that will, sometimes I get mortgage people who say, I don't know why you're calling me, that type of thing. But I'll say, well, it's my job. And other times I've had people say, you must be a good real estate agent. That's not it. Okay, so now this is, we've talked about how I'm going to market your property. So you can see that I really do not only spend a lot of money on it, I spend a lot of time. So here is, I want to talk a little bit about the marketing fee, the commission. And this is the reason that I don't talk about it on the phone, because I want them to see what I'm doing for them before I talk about this. So this is a way, I don't know if you've seen this dollar bill thing, but some people do it with actual dollar bills. This is, let's say that it's a 6% commission. I want to show you where that money goes. Half of it goes to the agent that brings the buyer. So this is what I get for marketing your property. 1% goes to my broker. 1% goes to marketing and servicing your listing and my taxes. And then $1 is how I feed my family. And that's how people usually laugh at that. And then I have this. Do you have any questions that I haven't answered? And then, let them, usually they say no, but sometimes there will be yes. There are a couple of other things I wanted to show you, and then I'll take any questions you have. Let's see, new share. Okay. Okay, so here is the packet that I share with them, which I could share with you, but I asked Stephanie, do you all know who Stephanie is in the office? I asked Stephanie to put together a package through Command, and I'm going to show you what that is. But what I did do, this is from an old, some of this I've taken from older Keller Williams technology, and some of it I've taken from all different places. So I put this into a folder and give it to them. And I say, I'm giving, and they open it, sees, and it says, a guide to selling your house, your home. So I say, I want you to look this over later. So this is the chart, and I may take, when I'm showing this chart on the screen, I'll take it out because it's easier to see it when it's 8.5 by 11. And here are some more reasons to market your house properly, to put the right price on. Another pricing. And then this is talking about open houses and how I go beyond just, putting up a sign. And I don't do every single one of these things all the time, but I do a lot of it. This I think is really important, and I might take this out. Sometimes I do. If I think they don't understand staging, I'll take this out, because a staged house gets sold quicker and for more money. And that's what this is talking about. And it's from the National Association of Realtors. I put this together. I can send you this packet if you guys want it.
Please, Deb.
So, I just want, this is for them to look at. And if I think that I have somebody who might be a little difficult, I'll go over this with them, because they need to understand that they can't just tell me that they'll show the house on, one day a week or something like that. We're not gonna really sell it very quickly or at all. And there are a whole bunch of, I created this because I had a difficult person, but it really, it really applies to everybody. Then this is something about Keller Williams. This is from an old Keller Williams marketing thing. I wrote about me, so this is about me, and it's old. I have to change it, but I've almost been in real estate for 17 years. I've been with Keller Williams the whole time, because I started in New York, and it's just really briefly about me and about Joe. And then I took this from different things that my clients have, testimonials from my clients. And that's the packet that I give out. Now I'm going to show you another packet that Stephanie gave me.
By the way, a lot of that, not all of it, a lot of it is in Ignite. It's in mykw.kw.com, education, Ignite, student resources, and then down at the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, some of it, I have it.
You have a nice collage there of stuff.
Yeah, it's all things that I've collected over the years that I thought was good. Okay, new share. Let's see. I think I have to prepare it.
Okay. Just while Deb is doing that, now you don't have testimonials because you don't have a track record yet, but what you do have are references that would speak to the characteristics that the public is looking for in a realtor: trust, reliability, good communication, hardworking. Okay. So if you can have people, past coworkers, whomever, write testimonials for you, references. Okay, you don't have a past client, but you have people you've worked with in the past who can write something nice about you.
Oh, that's not it then. Maybe it's here. Actually, I thought it was here. Let's see.
You'll find it. You'll find it.
Oh, here it is. Okay. So let's see if I can, I'm going to close this up. And then I'm going to new share. Here it is. Okay, so this is what I didn't use, I'm really not that familiar with Command, but I know that there's a lot of help out there. And this is a packet that they have you work on. And let's see, how do I get to? You can see this, right? It says client name.
Yep. Yep.
All right. So, it's set up so that you fill it out, and it's not that hard to fill out. But it's 28 pages. So I would suggest that you pick out the 10 most important pages. And then you can put that into, and if you want to combine some of the stuff that I have with this, go right ahead.
I love that idea because, there are the presentations which are done beautifully. The Command presentations, both seller and buyer, are done very, very well. But let's face it, you want to add your own personality and your experience. The customized pieces speak to your experience. And you know what they say in the beginning, you fake it till you make it.
Right.
We've all learned by that.
So this is giving you, it's almost like having a CMA at the beginning, that they have, but it's a summary that you've created. I always want to know, sometimes I do, a CMA, do you all know what a CMA is? Comparative market analysis. Sometimes I just do it for myself so that I know where I want to go. If I really have questions, and that's only if I really have questions about about these people, about the house, etc., or I don't know the area as well. But I like to do it so that if possible, we can come to something right away, but it doesn't always happen that way. I've had plenty of times where I go through my presentation and they're just not ready.
Mhm, mhm.
And I have to stay in touch, I stay in touch with them, um, speak to them at least once a week while they're
Yeah.
deciding.
The KW app is a great way to stay in touch and to also start to educate them on what's going on in the market, to temper and create some realistic expectations for pricing.
Right. And there are things that you can give them. For example, a net sheet, which I can show you in a minute. I have it. I took one and I made it, actually made it relate to New York, because that's where I mostly sell.
A net sheet is what the sellers can expect to net after they pay commission, taxes, attorney,
Transfer tax, yeah.
transfer tax. Yeah. Doesn't take into effect capital gains because that would be too individual.
So this over here, your custom marketing plan, I mean, that's what I used to use before I created mine. And I'll tell you something, when I put my listing presentation into a PowerPoint slide, it became so much more powerful. And when I could show the video and the website, it really, that really became powerful. And I also create my own videos sometimes about the town. And that is another thing that sets me apart. So this is pretty, it's a lot of what I talked about. But it's very generic
And this is all through command?
through command. This is what Stephanie gave me. So
Yeah.
it's really gives you something and you can pick and choose. Here, so like the numbers, you can use the numbers for the office.
Yeah,
Fill,
until they get their own.
fill this in. And just like I said, I used the office and the new city office stats. And then nobody, and I've done that twice. One time when I listed a house 5 years ago, I did the same thing. And they didn't question me after that. I think people just, and people are, if you've studied, I don't know if you've done the personality styles, the DISC or anything like that, but there are people that are very impressed with numbers. And, some people want all the stats and some people just gloss over when you talk about them, but you need to hit everybody's learning style, basically. So anyway, this is what this is like. I don't have to show it to you.
Yeah, everybody needs to go into command and just play around.
Yeah.
Do a presentation on your own property. Go ahead and play. There's no substitute for doing that.
Right. Oh, here's the net sheet. Let's see if I can share that. Here it is. Okay, can you see that? Seller estimated net sheet.
Yep.
So this is, I can send this to you also if you want. So this is, let me get this so I can show it.
Okay.
Move it over.
Can you scroll down, Deb?
Yeah, I just have to move. The thing is I have to make it smaller.
Okay. You have a Mac, I can tell.
Yeah.
You've got so much more capability.
All right.
I'm just going to warn everybody or just caution when you're dealing with a net sheet, be cautious in representing. Say this, the best way to present this is this will help you, meaning Mr. and Mrs. Seller, come to an estimate of your net proceeds from the sale of the home. Is
And
that what you do, Deb?
Well, what I actually do is I do a very brief version. Well, I send this to them, if they're as a something of value, while I'm waiting for them to agree to have me as their listing agent. But what I do with what I've done in the past with my clients is, once they sign a listing agreement, is to say, if we sell it for, I'm just gonna say 400,000, 425, 450, here's, and they tell me what their mortgage payoff would be. Here's what you would end up with. So the last time I remember doing it, the wife said, wow, I end up with 75,000. She was very surprised. And that was at the price that I thought it should sell for. So it really does help with something like that because people don't know, there are a lot of people who
Mhm.
are not good at numbers or anything like that. And when you just break it down, I just had some columns with some of these. I didn't have all these items, but it gave her a good idea of where she wanted to be, and she was happy with it. So this has all these different things, and I let,
Now, go back to the septic. Would you do that? Go down, please. Now, are you having sellers continue down? Pre-marketing expenses. Now, is this New York and New Jersey? Because in New Jersey, the buyer pays for those.
yeah, no, this would be, I mean, there are some times that I would recommend a radon inspection prior to listing.
Okay.
Or, if there's a lot of rain, because I've had people like run in terror at the thought of radon in the house,
Yeah.
even though, I mean, the seller would ordinarily put a radon mitigation system in if radon was found, but there are buyers that are really scared to death of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the only thing that I do sometimes recommend is a well inspection, because if they find bacteria in the well, then sometimes that really scares people. And that's only usually if nobody's lived in the house for a year or something like that.
Mhm, mhm.
I mean, you can almost guarantee that there's going to be coliform in the, well, if they find E. coli, that's a little scarier, but I don't usually recommend this, all of this, but you might want to find out what a home inspector would find, because there are home inspectors. Once you're working with some home inspectors, they may do a short inspection of a home for the seller and charge, let's say, $300, and not, just write a one-page report of what they found that they think needs to be done.
Mhm. It's very helpful for the seller, pre-marketing, so it takes some worries off the table.
Right, it does. Okay, so that's about it, and I could send this.
Yeah, please do, Deb.
Okay, I think that's okay. I'm ready for questions.
She's ready for questions, guys. All right, do you want to unshare your screen or leave it up?
Let's see, stop share. Okay.
Okay, there you go.
And
Come on, guys, you've got to have questions.
how about
I'm
comments?
just wondering how you deal with the typical objections if they're not budging in terms of your listing presentation. You mentioned typically in the pricing, especially like if they're like 50,000 over, and after your presentation, if they're still not budging after that, or if they're still interviewing someone else, how do you handle that coming out of the presentation?
Well, I mean, I just had usually that happens with somebody that I really don't want to work with. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I just had that situation. Someone recommended me to their neighbor, and I mean, she wasn't, the reason I think that she didn't pick me was because I said to her, there are a few things in the house that I would do because I think you would sell the house quicker and get more money. And that would be paint the outside steps and replace the carpet on the stairs because there are holes in it. And I think she was offended by that. And then she picked someone else and told told her friend who's my customer that she wasn't happy with that realtor. She just seemed like she was going to be difficult. And as far as price goes, I think she wanted, this is in Monroe, New York. She wanted 349, and I said 329, something like, it was something like that. And I just felt, I wasn't in that situation. I wasn't ready to budge. I'll tell you another situation where I did budget, and that was in, I think it was May of 2020. We had no idea what was going to happen with the market at that time. And I priced a house, I think it was 30,000 more than I thought it should go. And I just said to the people, something, I really don't know where this market is going. I'm willing to try it, and I would write in the contract, if it doesn't sell in, if we have to have, because the National Association of Realtors, and this is, I do quote this, says that in the first 10 days, you should have 10 showings in the first 3 weeks. In the first 3 weeks, you should have 10 showings or an offer.
Mhm.
And I said, if we don't get that, we have to lower the price, and we have to lower it at least 10,000. So, I mean, and in that particular situation, we had an almost full price offer because of the market. That house, if I had listed it in January, let's say, and this was now May, I would have listed it 30,000 less. And that's probably about where it would have sold. But in
The
that,
market is everything.
yeah,
The market is
absolutely
everything.
Yeah, I mean, I really carefully look at the comps, and what I've learned over the years is that that houses in that particular, not just the town, but it could be the street, it could be that particular subdivision. I mean, all of those prices might relate just directly to that area and not the whole area, not the whole town.
Mhm.
So
And
it's,
certain price ranges too have a different eco market.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're in the $1 million range, going down 100,000 is not a big deal. If you're in the 300,000, going down 1,000 might be a big deal.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to point something out that Deb said. Sometimes as new people, you're just so anxious and hungry to get a listing and to get the experience. And sometimes we'll take some liberties for you to get the experience. Go ahead and, okay, you're priced a little too high. Nothing beats, jumping in and doing it. But as you mature as realtors, I want you to start feeling comfortable with, once in a while, understand the listing appointment is a dual decision. Do you want to work with them, and do they want to work with you? They've got to be a partner with you.
there is a listing presentation that's, I don't know if they still have this in bold, but it's tonight,
Mhm.
one of three things is going to happen. Either you'll decide to list with me, and that would be great, or we'll decide that it's not going to work for either one of us, or I'll decide that it's not the right thing for me, and it's, and people are, I mean, I have fired people, or I've wished that I had fired them. And and I have somebody who I think is going to ask me to list their house, and I'm to 4%, and I'm not going to do it. So, I mean, I get at least 5% when I list a house.
Mhm.
And it's just not worth it. And the thing is, you have to think about, you have to have a lot of prospective customers, because it is a numbers game, and you need to be in a position where you can turn people down, because they may not, my feeling is, if you don't value anything that I have to say to you, it doesn't really pay for me to work with you. And I have found that, there are people that they think that selling a house is an easy thing. And it really takes a number of years to understand how to work in real estate. It's not easy.
And don't be afraid of failing. Making mistakes, you're going to make them.
Yeah.
Go ahead and just jump in. get the experience. Sometimes it's going to sting a little, but you'll walk out having learned something that you can apply. I think you can tell just the way Deb is talking. She comes with the experience, good, bad, and ugly, right?
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
some pretty bad.
We've all had them. And then, you know, what's funny, I'll never forget, I had a buyer one time referred, she just, I railroaded her. Oh my God. I mean, she just really scathing. And about 3 months later referred her brother to me. So, I mean, sometimes it's just an emotional spot where they are and you're the likely target. So bear that in mind too.
Yeah, true.
Please ask Deb some questions. We've got a few more minutes. She's kind enough. We've got about 5 more minutes. Questions?
I have a question. When it comes to pricing a house, like when you're doing a comparative market analysis, and you have one house that you have as a comp, and it's got a lot size of a half of an acre, and then the other one has a lot size of a quarter of an acre. Do you do a difference in price based on those two things? Because we're actually, me and a lot of people on this call are in Push right now with David Radney, and we're using this auto price sheet, and it says a half an acre equals something like $5,000 or something for a $400,000 house. I don't know exactly, but something like that. And then it says it's non-subdividable. So I want to know if you actually, considering this is Bergen County and lot sizes are smaller, do you do like a difference in price in that case?
It depends.
Mhm.
So what I would say is I would look at all of the comps, all of the possible, even if it's, I mean, and where I work in New York, it could be an acre versus a quarter acre. There, I would say yes, but also say it depends, because I'm looking at it, the more important thing is, of course, if it's in a quarter acre versus a half an acre, I don't think is that much of a difference. But I would say square feet, condition, those are probably, and year built. Those are probably the most important aspects. And
Yeah, I'd also like to look, at how close the neighbors' houses are.
yeah,
Sometimes they're not. Even
Yeah.
it might be a quarter acre and yet there's the neighbor's house the neighbor has big property and their house isn't anywhere near this. So
Yeah.
you have to look a little bit more than what Jeff Otto. He's very analytical and he's a good starting point. He's not the Bible.
yeah, I have that sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very helpful though, but it's good.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
good to go off the
Yeah,
out of the box.
Yeah, you need to use your own brain.
I think you guys have heard that before. Okay. All right, Deb, thank you very, very
question.
much.
My
While I
pleasure.
still have everybody on the call, tomorrow we have a session from 2 to 3, and Sarah Deutsch is going to do command, how you put in a new sale. It's called Opportunities in Command. So Sarah Deutsch is going to do opportunities tomorrow, Wednesday from 2 to 3. And on Thursday, Joanne is going to do the budget model from 2 to 3. You're in a business and he wants you right away to know that you're in a business and to treat it like a business. So he's going to have you look at your expenses and profit and all those kinds of things. All right.
I just made you the host, Patty,
I'm sorry.
Deborah, I
Oh,
have
you
a
just made
question.
me host.
the host.
Thank you, Deb.
Hey, Deborah,
Yes.
I have a question. When you're doing the CMAs, have you dealt with anything that has solar panels? How do you predict that?
Yeah. Well, do they? It depends if they own it or they rent it. So
If they're leasing it?
are they leasing it?
Yeah.
Okay. So if they owned it, it could be a plus, and then
Okay.
if they're leasing it, it's a plus minus, because usually the person has to take it over. The person buying the house, is that the situation? They have to take it over?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
pay it off.
Yeah. And it might be it could be $30,000 or some, a number like that, over time they can pay. The thing is that you want to, and are you listing it or you're buying it?
No, I'm just, I was just renting doing
Well,
comps, so to speak.
if you, you have to also look at giving it a positive spin. Like I am going to list a house that's in a flood zone. I've talked to the owners about that and I have different things, and I said, here are different things that we can do that will help people. For example, agree to pay 2 years of flood insurance. There, so in that situation with the solar panels, that might be something that they could ask for if it's a buyer, or that they could offer.
Do you all get that, guys?
I'm
All
still-
right, where the seller can offer to pay either, if, as appropriate, either the flood insurance premiums for X amount of time, a year, 2 years, if that seems to be a stopper, a showstopper for some buyers. Same thing with solar panels that are leased. Okay, you can play with that. That's called negotiation.
Right.
Patty,
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to apologize to both you and Deborah for coming in halfway through the meeting. Totally unintentional, but I was in another meeting that ran like an hour and a half longer than anticipated. So I'll watch the recording and I apologize for coming in halfway through.
And it was recorded.
I know, I see that.
Oh, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Thank you, Cheryl. And Deb, thank you so much. And Deb, I'm going to take a liberty here. I know Deb has agreed to be a mentor for those of you licensed in New York. And I'm sure she would welcome any questions or calls that you have. All right. She's very helpful. She was so excited about coming tonight and sharing her expertise. And she really wants each and every one of you to do well and be confident and happy. Did I take that liberty out of hand, Deb?
No, absolutely. I mean, and I actually, the presentation of how to do a list, how to rock your listing presentation, I just created that. It really helped me to solidify some thoughts I had.
Perfect, perfect. So if you would send that to me, I will send it out.
Okay.
And Deb, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. This was very helpful.
Deb, would you put your contact information in the chat box before we
Okay.
leave?
Yeah, that's- And I
Oh, there you
do,
go.
I do
Okay.
sell houses in Bergen County. I have a listing coming on in Lodi, and I'm going to be doing an open house. If someone wants to work with me on that, I would.
Me. I live over there.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, reach out to Deb, please.
yeah, I could, because I can show you, how I prepare and do the open house and follow up and all of that, which might be valuable.
It will be valuable, not might, will be. Deb, thank you. That's great. And thank you for the great offer. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Deb,
Bye.
1,000 thank
Thank you
yous.
so much.
Thank you.